Good afternoon, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com with your Hurricane and Hurricane HD video blog for the 18th of September 2012. Tropics, not much of an issue. Nadine pestering the Azores today, but that's even a minimal impact over here as it's really starting to lose its convective activity. Tropical wave here, another one here, third one here. Very little activity down in the deep tropics as of late. So I don't see much happening with these systems. If we look at a visible satellite shot of the Atlantic Basin today, you can see part of Nadine up here on this particular section of the ocean. Let me back out a little bit, that might help. And this is interesting. It might actually be that Nadine sits up here and then part of the energy of it weakens and drifts back all the way over to the Gulf of Mexico. I'll show you that on the GFS output from earlier today. The bigger story, though, is the front, the cold front coming into the eastern United States and the warm, moisture-laden air advecting in off the ocean and feeding all of this energy into the cold front and the low-pressure area. Strong southerly winds at the surface with southwest winds at the upper to middle to upper layers, indicating some shear in here, so some severe weather possible. Keep an eye on that. And the radar is certainly getting more active, and you can even see some of that moisture streaming all the way up from the Atlantic in through the Carolinas into the middle Atlantic states. Another plume here, and you got that deep southerly flow coming in this way, and then strong southwesterly winds this way. And again, that starts to sort of turn the atmosphere, and when you develop these thunderstorms into that, you can get tornadoes. Kind of rare to have severe weather outbreaks this time of year in the east, but they do happen. And the source region for a lot of that energy is all this warm water still sitting in here. It is still the peak month of the hurricane season, so you've got 80+ degree water sitting over a large part of the western Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf. And this low pressure area in front coming in helps to, as I said, advect that or move it laterally, horizontally, from the south to the north, and you feel all that energy into the approaching storm system. Now behind the front, things dry out nice and quick, and very stable air mass, so no tropical development expected here. Sometimes these fronts can come in and stall out over this warm water and develop into something, but I see nothing of any significance on the global models over the next few days, so that's good. Keep your eye, though, on Nadine here. This is the 5,000-foot vorticity signature, just a fancy way of saying spin in the atmosphere or energy in the atmosphere. This is the GFS from the 6Z run today, and it's going to try to take this all the way back into the Gulf of Mexico over the next several days. So this is day 1. Here's day 2. There's Nadine there. Day 3. Day 4. What happens is you get this huge high that the GFS wants to build out over the Atlantic, and it traps Nadine. It cannot go to the northeast and head on out to sea and away from the subtropics here. Instead, it gets trapped and starts to go around the high, as you'll see over the next several days. So here's day 5, day 6. You can see it weakening some, but there it is, the signature, the vorticity maxima of Nadine. Finally, day 7 and day 8. It's coming on around right there, and if I skip all the way out to 336 hours, watch. It ends up over here in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. See? Right there. Very weak, but there it is nonetheless. This big old high pressure area sitting out in the Atlantic. Don't know if this is going to come to pass. We'll have to wait and see. If it does, it'll mean a nice warm period into early October here as the Bermuda Azores high looks very strong, and that would mean, you know, sort of like what they call the Indian summer pattern, a very warm start to October if this comes to pass. But it's interesting to see that little bit of energy left over from Nadine that's over here now come all the way back because of that strong high that the model is building out over the Atlantic. We'll watch that and see if it actually comes to pass. I doubt it, but you never know, right? The weather can be unusual. That's about it. Nothing else really happening. Keep your eye to the sky, though, in the eastern U.S. Be aware of the weather, how quickly it can change on you with all of this moisture and heavy rain and severe weather threat heading through the eastern part of the country. We want you to stay aware and not be caught by surprise. Alright, well that is it for now. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth. My website, HurricaneTrack.com. Always a pleasure to produce these videos for Hurricane and Hurricane HD. and I'll see you again with another one tomorrow.